morning, students. Today we are going to learn about the topic inequality in other countries. Students, next you learn the aim. What is the aim of the concept? Examine racial discrimination as a form of inequality existing in other countries. Students, I asking some questions. Listen carefully. Okay. What is inequality in other countries? Did you know, students? Yes, correct. Inequality is not unique to India. It happens all over the world. Sometimes people are discriminated against on the basis of the color of their skin. This is called racial discrimination. Today we are going to learn about the topic racial discrimination. Students, next you learn the keywords. Today keywords are racial discrimination. Students, next you see the pictures. How do you feel the picture, students? Did you know? Yes. Because basic of the skin color, black and white. The white was treated with the black was very badly. So this movement called the racial discrimination. Students, next you learn the accents part. How would you feel if someone stopped you from entering a restaurant because of the color of your skin? What would you do in such a situation? Did you know, students? Yes. Inequality in society is not unique to India. People across the world face inequalities in society for different reasons. Students, next you learn the what are the different types of inequality. Did you know, students? Yes, correct. Number 1, the boy and girl is the gender inequality. Number 2, Hindu and Muslim, this is for the religion inequality. And third one, rich and poor is the status inequality. And fourth one, upper caste and lower caste is the caste inequality. And fifth one, white and black color inequality. These are also the different types of inequality in our society. Students, next you learn the racial discrimination. I asking some questions, students. Number 1, who is being discriminated against? By whom? How? Did you know, students? Yes, correct. The blacks were discriminated against by whites. Blacks were denied many rights. So, the discrimination of the blacks and whites of the society. Students, next I read the case study. Listen carefully. The civil rights movement. African Americans in the United States of America have faced a long history of racial discrimination. Africans first arrived in the USA as slaves in the 1600s. Although slavery was abolished in 1865, African Americans or blacks still faced many forms of discrimination from European Americans or whites. Blacks were denied many privileges, and then whites were granted the more than privileges. They were not allowed to vote. They had separate churches and there were separate schools for blacks which were of poor quality. They were not allowed to use public transport like buses if there were whites traveling in them. Black women were often hired only as domestic help, nurses and nannies. Students, what do you learn the case study? Did you know, students? Students, I asking some questions and next you tell the answer. Okay? Who is being discriminated in society and by whom? How? Why? Did you know, students? Yes. The African Americans in the US are facing racial discrimination by white Americans. They were not allowed to go to the same restaurants, churches, and movie halls as whites, or use the same buses or other forms of public transport. Racial discrimination happens when people are treated unequally because of the color of their skin. And then next question, who fought against this discrimination? Did you know, students? Yes. It was in 1955 that an African American woman named Rosa Parks started a movement against racial discrimination called the Civil Rights Movement. Students, finally you learn the higher order thinking. Do you think common people's struggles are effective in removing inequality from our society? Did you know, students? Yes. Often movements, struggles led by common people are more effective in bringing about changes in society than just having laws formed by the government. It takes many years of constant struggle to remove any form of inequality from society. Students, you observing the video and do the worksheet.